serve are predominantly 80% carrot and 10% apple and 10% celery. Celery definitely is a crop that is very sprayed, so I think it's very important that the health retreat grow their own celery. That's our 8 a.m. juice. So our 10 a.m. juice is Granny Smith apple, they're the green apples, and ginger. This is a delicious juice, but if we have diabetics there, we have people conquering cancer, instead of giving them that, because you don't want them to have so much apple, it's a bit too sweet, we just give them this again. So the 12 o'clock juice, or I think on the chart it's 11:30 or 11:45 juice. It's I think it's about 40% cucumber, and cucumber's very alkalizing and a wonderful cleanser, and 40% apple and 20% greens. So the greens can be stinging nettle, they can be a little bit of celery, they can be pumpkin tops, any edible green, and we also try and put a good handful of mint into that. So as you can imagine, that comes out a very dark green mix, and it's and the guests very much like it. So
you do it a day before, you do it on Sunday?
We do these two Sunday, and that allows our chef or our cook to come in a little later, and our cook comes in, say, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they do the other juices. And then in the late afternoon, then they'll juice for the next 2 days. For the next day, the first two juices. So the 2 p.m. juice, is, I think it's about 70% carrot and 10% apple and 10% beetroot. %, celery. If you give too much beetroot, because when we were at Living Valley Springs, one of the students read about the wonders of beetroot, and he gave the guests straight beetroot juice, and some of them vomited straight back up, some of them got quite sick. See, what the beetroot does, it can stimulate the liver to clean, and it's too fast. So make the juice, and you might think, I'd like more beetroot in that. So you might eliminate the apple and do 20% beetroot. You can certainly play around with it. So the last juice of the day is the 4 p.m. juice, and the 4 p.m. juice is 50% carrot and 50% pineapple. And if pineapple's something that you can't get, or you can't get decent ones, and perhaps in Sweden you can't, you could do another one of any of those. So for our people who are here conquering cancer or conquering diabetes, we'll do the carrot, celery and apple juice again at 10, and the carrot, celery and apple juice again at 4 p.m. so they don't have that sweet. And then they're having their steam bath, as you can see, from 3:30. Ladies 3:30 to 4:30, and the men are 4:30 to 5:30, and then 6:30 broth is served, and that's a lot of vegetables. So I'll give you the recipe for broth. We do carrots, and you keep the skin on, onions. So for carrots it might be 4, onions it might be 2 if they're big, maybe 4 if they're little, and potato with the skin on. The only time we don't leave the skin on the onions if it looks a bit black or not nice. We only use it if it looks nice, if it looks clean. Potatoes 2 if they're big, a few more if they're not so big. Celery. So with the celery you'd use about 1 cup. And stinging nettle. So with the stinging nettle, you do about 2 cups of that. And that has a simmer for 4 to 5 hours. And so after 4 to 5 hours, you strain that out, and then you add Celtic salt to taste, and that's the broth that the guests have. So I guess looking at, I suppose you do about 4 litres of water to that. And of course, depending on how many guests you've got, if you double it or halve it.
This is 1 portion for 1 person?
Oh no, that's for all your guests. They would have, because it's 4 litres. Again, depending on. So your average, each guest will have about 2 cups.
So this will be a liquid, sorry?
Pure liquid, yeah. So it's a broth, meaning like a very thin soup.